can finally talk in a relatively voice. The last few nights you've been in bed. I've tried not to wake you. Did I wake you at all or keep you up? Okay, good.
No.
Everyone's like, "Why are we whispering, fam?" It was like an ASMR video. I was like, "Hi guys, it's me." Gingerly take a sip of my water. So we've just finished a trip, or we're finishing a trip down to Virginia, where you are about to move because you have just kind of soft retired after what 20 years in the veterinary field?
20 years.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, man.
So after 20 years of veterinary field, you retire. You're good. You know, you have a decent amount of cash. You are currently building a house in Virginia. So why make the move from Long Island? Why do you hate us in Long Island now?
Oh man, I love Long Island. I love New York. Been my whole veterinary career has been in New York, 20 years now, and I wish I could stay. Really, it's the cost of living. You know, when you're going to retire and you don't have the same income stream coming in, it's either dial your lifestyle down or go somewhere where it's more conducive. So, Virginia, here I come.
So you're not gonna try to live a little bit between the means. You're like, nah, man, I don't want to change the lifestyle at all.
No, I like my lifestyle. I like nice things.
It's a great time, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, and there's just the tax situation in New York. I see where the taxes go. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a wrong thing or a bad thing. Being from Louisiana, where property taxes are about $1,000 a year, versus New York, where $10,000 a year is cheap.
Yeah.
You know, I see where the taxes go, and but at this stage in my life, I don't need all that stuff. So
that's true. No need to pay school tax when
right.
When your kids just graduated and out of school.
Yep.
So I get that. Seems like where we're going though, that there aren't going to be as many towns, because you have like downtown is not it's like a convenience store.
Yeah, but how much time do I spend in City Hall, right? A lot of things I can do online. All of my attorneys that I work with, it's all remote. We're never in office really. So many things can be done remotely, and I love me some Amazon, so I'm not worried about stores and this and that. There's nice restaurants. You've seen every place we've been. Good food, even the bagels, for crying out loud.
Well, they get the bagels from New York. That's all.
That's what I'm saying. No, it's. I was worried about pizza. We didn't get to go to the pizza joint, but next time we come down, we'll make a point. Pizza is just as good as that bagel was. So, it's. I like outdoor stuff anyway. So, I'll be living on a lake. Have 11 wooded acres. I'll be just fine.
Yeah, I feel you. So you had mentioned yesterday you were on a call. Was it Fishman?
Yeah.
You're on a call and you invited her to be part of your mentorship program for new veterinarians. Tell us about that and why it's important to mentor people that had just spent 7 years in school.
Oh God,
learning.
Man, you spend those 7 years acquiring tools.
Okay.
And maybe your last year of vet school, they start teaching you how to use these tools. So, I mean, you don't know, you're not a pro at using the tools after school. You are continuously learning. That's why we have continuing education. It's you never know all there is to know, and there's a really big problem in the field right now where there are just not a lot of mentors. A lot of your older vets they don't really want to mentor. They've been burned out. We have a high burnout percentage or level of burnout in the career field. So, there's a huge demand for mentors, and that people coming out of school, they're looking for that. When they're interviewing, that's one of their criteria is mentorship. And it's important, you don't know everything there is to know when you come out of school. So Chirp Vet is the company I'm working for, started by Diane and Ben Levitan in Long Island, New York.
And they're all local. Yeah, I know that Levitan,
Yeah. Diane started up a couple of specialty practices, regular GP practice. Right now she's got this community low-cost spay-neuter thing going. She teaches you. So Diane's got her hands in a lot of stuff, and I like that. You know, I like to get my hands in stuff too. So she started this company called Chirp Vets, where it's basically on-demand mentorship for veterinarians and for students, it's been pretty cool. And went live November 1st, so we're a month in now, and I enjoy that. I enjoy when I get those phone calls and helping young vets work through cases or, you know, dilemmas with clients or whatever their issue is.
So part of what I've seen in my experience, like 8-9 years as a vet assistant, is a lot of the new doctors that I worked with, the time that they spend in appointments, which is usually allotted for like, you know, 15 minutes to a half hour,
Yeah.
you know, depending on what they are, usually is a bit longer.
Yeah.
What is one of the major things that you work on? Is trying to get through appointments?
So far it's been really working up cases.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I have a cat with these lab values and these symptoms. You know, where should I go? What test is going to be the best? Because there's a lot of them you could do, but we really try to be conscious of the client's money while trying to practice the best medicine. That's not always easy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been mainly about, you know, case workups and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so far. But I mean, it can be anything. It could be, you know, I find myself taking 15 minutes longer in an exam room. What do I do with that? And yeah, that was one of my specialties. I felt was being able to efficiently and compassionately convey information. You know, because you are on the timeline, and you can't spend an hour discussing things. And many times you're dealing with a situation where you could spend 2 hours discussing it and still not cover everything. So, you know, in complex cases with multiple ailments. So it's definitely an art. And when you get out of school, you have all this knowledge. It's fresh, man, and you can describe mechanisms and cellular mechanisms and when I got out of school, I really got deep into things, and I blew people's minds. You know, I gave them way too much information.
So, generally speaking, one of the best parts of, or I think the most satisfying parts of going to the doctor, going to the vet, is like not talking to the assistant that, you know, can tell you like whatever that you know, or the tech. It would be actually getting FaceTime with the doctor, and you feel like you're getting like your money's worth or your time is worth.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be worth, or how much do you think people would pay to have like an on-call veterinarian, like that they only share with maybe 4 or 5 other people?
That's a good question. I think part of your initial perception is the value is only from the veterinarian, is you have poorly trained teams. If you have a team that's trained well, they will be able to instill confidence in, you know, in the client. And like a lot of my team members, the clients would ask for them by name, you know, and that was one thing that I was really happy to be able to create. But, and, you know, what people would be willing to pay, you know, for sort of an on-demand service like that, that's a really good question. A lot of companies are coming out with things like that, you know, like JustAnswer.com, Vetster.com is another one that Vetster does online, you know, virtual appointments. Just Answers text and phone. You know, I think Chewy and Petco, PetMeds. You know, PetMeds, they have, you know, online vet services now.
Well, PetMeds, those meds aren't guaranteed by a veterinarian, right?
No, they're not.
Okay,
so I'm just saying that there seems to be a demand for this type of service, and I'm actually going to be, you know, I'm contemplating my own platform with virtual appointments. You know, and I'm going to start with Just Answer here shortly, just to kind of bridge the gap. But I may do my own virtual appointments, because I need Just Answer for the client base. But I have a client base, you know, that follows me on Facebook. Yes, I'm still old and I'm on Facebook, sorry. You know, so I might start doing it, and so that's a really good question that I've actually been contemplating. What would people pay for this service? So on JustAnswer.com, I believe that they had a monthly subscription that they pay for, and then, or maybe not. Honestly, I can't remember. I just know what I got paid, and you know, I get paid anywhere between $7 to $11 per question. If it turned into a phone call, I believe that was another $15. So figure the smallest amount was $7. The biggest amount would be 25-ish, give or take.
And how long per question usually?
The phone calls, not long. Typically, I'd say somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm finding that's really the average with the mentorship. With phone calls so far over the last month. I think our longest call was 11 to 12 minutes. So yeah, we're looking, say, split the difference, call it 8 minutes. Yeah. 8 minutes for $25. Not a bad deal.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I don't find, and then it also saves the client money. In many cases, because some of the things you don't need to go in for. I can help you with that at home, or at the very least, I can give you a Band-Aid until you can get in, because you have long wait times these days. I have to keep you out of the emergency room, so there's value there, and this is a brand new thing, really. I guess I hadn't really heard about it before COVID, but it's Just Answer's been around for a little while now.
So a couple comments here. Sven Dangen says that in Europe, phone consultations are not allowed. So this is something that you could only do in America.
Interesting.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's there's something called the veterinary patient-client relationship, and you have to have a valid VCPR in order to prescribe and treat. But I think this is one of those loophole situations where even on Just Answer, it's like, this is not a valid VCPR, so take the advice at your own risk.
Oh, okay. All right. So they put that in there.
Yeah, but the laws are changing now with COVID and more remote services and telemedicine on the human side. So now with Vetster, we can actually prescribe medications. We can order tests that get shipped to the client's home. Things like this. So there's lots of different things that are just happening. This is all really brand new. I have my own online pharmacy that I've had for...
Oh, you've had it for years.
15 years now. drmarknunez.com. So I can have a consult with someone, and it seems that that's the way it's going now. Legally, we can prescribe medication. We can do video thing. I can look at the skin. But there's always going to be, here's what I think it is. Yeah. But nothing substitutes for, having my hands on that patient, being able to look at something under a microscope.
Feel the arthritis.
Yeah.
Feel
So,
the
people got to know what they're going into, and as long as you know the pros and cons of the steps you're taking, and you're making an informed decision, it seems to be all legal at the moment. So.
Yeah, I mean, figure the vet appointment maybe only takes an hour, but between for the person to go in there, wait at reception, wait for the thing, and then have the animal come back. But obviously you have travel time both ways. If getting the pet in a carrier, if it's a cat, or trying to get.
Yeah, that's always fun, especially cats.
So you mentioned before how you were old and on Facebook, which I am too. Yeah. How important, or how much stress building not just a client list, but building your brand and building a big network to new veterinarians?
Oh, that's super important. I mean, anyone, building a brand, that's really the biggest thing these days, especially if you're reaching out to people and marketing online, which is so easy to do. But you got to be able to reach people. And the more you build your brand, and the more you gain people's trust. I mean, trust is everything. If you don't trust who you're dealing with, you're not going to deal with them very much. Yeah. So building a brand and building trust, that's key. And you can be, and this is sad to say, but you can be a crappy veterinarian, but if you are able to gain people's trust, you'll be busy. Yeah.
To end to that, whether a good veterinarian or crappy veterinarian.
Well, it can't be anything,
Yeah. If you have and I've seen this so many times before, all the clients say like, oh, I always see you here. You should take a vacation. But then the clients don't want to see anyone but that doctor. So if you have your own practice and they don't want to see the people that you're there with, I've seen that happen.
Oh yeah, or you post a picture of your vacation. Oh, it must be nice to go on this vacation. Did I fund that vacation? And like, emotional blackmail people. Stop it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so when you would drive your cars to the practice, do you make sure to drive your car in back, make sure your car's not seen?
I'm not quote unquote out to make money, right? I love medicine. I love animals. I love people. I love giving back to the community. I've donated upwards of $100,000 of services every year for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I give back, but I am not ashamed of what I've accomplished, and I'm not ashamed to like nice things, and I'm not going to let that that old thing, process of don't let people see you drive nice things. No, I'm driving what I'm driving, and I'm gonna drive it where I'm gonna drive it.
Dennis would never bring his BMW.
No.
He would only bring his Honda Civic.
Only the Civic, man. He believes strongly in that.
Yeah, same.
And a lot of people do. But it's also, veterinarians get shamed for making a good living. Whereas if it's a doctor or a lawyer, you want the most expensive one, right? You don't want the doctor pulling up in a Honda Civic. You want the doctor pulling up in the Mercedes.
Yeah, because the better they are, the more money they make.
You got it. Like you go to plastic surgeon, you're gonna go to Joe Blow, in the Yugo, or you're gonna go to the one in the Maserati. So that's I'm not ashamed of making money. I'm not ashamed of being able to semi-retired 52 and hopefully done son by 55. And yeah, I never subscribe to that mentality.
So I think that I posted this on Twitter before, and he said hopefully done by 55, which goes in line with the next bull market. It'll be about late 2024, mid 2025.
Yeah.
I posted saying that if anyone, and obviously this is not financial advice, but if you put 1% of your net worth into OMI, you could probably lose the other 99%, and in 3 years probably have more money than you do right now.
Yeah.
Because I think I would. And so your financial advisor had actually told you not to buy OMI.
Yeah.
Why are you still getting into OMI?
Well, because I understand what's going on with it. Especially you and I being so tight. And you made some good choices, so I trust you as an individual. It's I'm not going to put 1% of my net worth in there because I think my financial advisor might fire me. But I do have to respect his opinions. After all, I am paying for them. But I believe this is going to be big. I mean, like, who thought Bitcoin was going to be big? And all the criticisms you had for if you bought Bitcoin at the time, and all of this kind of stuff. So what people don't understand, they often shun and ridicule. But my advisor does understand Bitcoin and is advising Bitcoin and does believe that Bitcoin will reach 1 million by 2030, and all of this stuff. So he's a young guy. It's just not a lot of people. This is a very, very niche situation that you're dealing with ECOMI here. So it's not common knowledge, and you talk to anyone over 20 about what an NFT is, and they're like, I don't get it, and I don't get it either, really. I mean, you guys love those things, and rock and roll, man. More power to you. All this new stuff. I like new stuff. I like change. Change has always been my superpower. So, I'm also not risk averse. I have a very high tolerance for risk. I think I've lost 50,000 in OMI so far, but I'm going to recoup that in tax losses, and I'm going to jump right back in, because I understand markets and I understand how things go, and it's not predictable, and it's not this and that, and there's ups and downs, and as long as you understand what you're going into and you're not crippling yourself if you do lose it, man, Why not? Especially with for me, what keeps drawing me in too, in spite of the financial advisor's advice, the risk reward, right? So if and I have a very high tolerance for risk, so that's, keep that in mind. But if I can drop, $20,000-$30,000 and turn it into several million, man, that's
worth it.
Yeah, that's worth it. That's absolutely worth the risk to me. But I also have the money to do that. If all I had to my name was $20,000, putting $1,000 would
5%. Yeah, 5%'s a lot.
So it's I have the means. I have the risk tolerance, and I also have knowledge that a lot of people don't have.
That's true. This is not your first bear market, not your first recession.
No.
Experienced a lot of them. So you saying that you're very, very quick to change if you need to?
Oh, I'm not averse to change, like many are. Humans in general are creatures of habit, and I learned. That's passing me like I'm standing still. I learned very early on in life to embrace change. I think I was maybe 12 or 13 when I learned that lesson.
So you have in the last like hardcore recession, like 2007, 2009, in that area.
7, 8, 9, yep. I bought a house.
Yeah, you were in.
I bought it right before the bubble popped. Yay! Oh yeah, man. Bought it like 3 months later. It dropped almost $100,000 in value. Oh
God, what was your mindset at that time?
Oh shit, what am I gonna do? I was struggling, check to check. I wasn't an owner. I was an associate and getting underpaid and overworked, and I was stressed out. And I was just like, well, I'm just gonna keep plugging along until the market comes back. You know? And that's what I did.
So that was that was about 12, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
With you're in Westbury. You're with your second wife. So tell us about love, because this is your.
I'm on 3 marriages, man. You want to know about love?
Well, this is how, because you've experienced it in many different ways.
Yep.
And how has it changed and evolved for you over time?
Less emotion and less romanticism. I'm more of a practical person. Less control, more autonomy. I can't be with someone who's needy, smothering, like always. Remember, at the same time, I like to spend time with my significant other and this and that, but the neediness and this and that just, evolving over time. And I got married when I was 18, we were on each other's ass all the time, and it's like now, like half the time I don't know where my wife is, what the hell, what are you doing? Where are you? But this is by far the best relationship I've had. And it's a very different relationship, compared to others. It's hard to describe, but my current wife, when we married, was 48. Yeah, 48. Never married, no kids. Career, right? As opposed to my first wife, we got married right out of high school. She was in college, I was in the Air Force. Yeah. My second wife, I was a veterinarian. She had a high school degree. So, it was 9 years younger than me. Yeah. So, this was 2 years older. She was 47 maybe at the time, whatever. I'm 52 now. So, this is a solid relationship, man. So I guess for me, all that romantic stuff that society puts in your head. I mean, even if you look at the whole diamond as an engagement ring, guys, Google that shit.
Oh yeah,
see how De Beers. Oh man, he was a brilliant marketer. Man. Yeah. God damn it, brilliant. But see how De Beers. This is only something new, like in the 50s. you know, diamonds are forever. That was the slogan right
girl's
there.
best friend.
Girls' best friends, but diamonds are forever. That is what made diamonds. You know, that's what you buy if you really love someone. If you like it, then you put a ring on it, right? You know, that was not a thing until the 50s, and De Beers created that shit. Monopolized the diamond industry, got his ass handed to him in the end, but man, brilliant.
You know what a lot of people, what a lot of companies are investing now. So in the women between 25 and 45, 45% of them are single and estimated to stay single, no married, no kids. A lot of other companies are now investing in wines and cat food and all these.
Yeah.
So I don't know what some of the consequences are.
The diamond industry saw that coming too, and they're like, "Buying for yourself. You worked it."
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, so what? Like right now, I feel like there's been a lot of movement of. I feel like back in the day, if you were 25 and you were not married, you were like a spinster.
Yeah, you has been.
And
who the hell's gonna marry your ass?
And now I feel like a lot of people, especially again on the coast and up north, not really in the south.
Yeah.
They don't really get married and have kids until after like 30.
Well, the South is still doing it young, from what I understand. But you know, I haven't been to the South in 20 years. But you know, just still having large families for the most part. But I think many people still are. I think the more affluent you become and the more educated you become, the smaller the families are. Right. I mean, well, you know, it's not necessarily because I'm smart, I know better. You know, you're spending your time differently.
Yeah.
You know, you're not spending your time getting married, pumping out kids, and figuring out how the next check is coming. You know, you're setting foundation for your future, which is what I did. You know, I wanted 6 kids. You know, that's what I had in my head. Jesus, 1 was enough. You young people out there, man, y'all stop giving your parents hell. But you know, I spent my time, you know, in the Air Force, you know, trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And then once I figured out that ain't it, you know, now it's college. Who the hell wants to have kids in college? And I had a lot of fun in college. That's what I was looking for. I damn sure wasn't looking for kids. And then I was out of a marriage too, you know, right towards the end of my Air Force enlistment. So yeah, man, I was not looking to get married, that's for sure. And so, you know, damn, next thing you know, 10 years gone by and I'm 30-something years old, and that's when I started.
Yeah. So nowadays it seems like with the addition of women into the workforce, women being highly educated now, it seems that women that are very conscientious and very disagreeable, that really make it in the high level positions, whether it be in corporate America, you know, lawyers, doctors, veterinarians, it seems that they still find that around or a little after the age of 30, when they have kids, that because those women tend to only date men as successful or as educated as them or above, that when both parties are making 6 figures, and it seems like, okay, we both don't need to make $200,000 a year, it's more important for the woman to spend time with their kids, which they won't be able to get back. They could always go back to work.
Open up a can of worms right now.
So I'm never gonna say like it's not worth it. Obviously, I don't want kids, and hopefully the woman I'm with doesn't want kids in the future. Yeah. But what do you think some of the consequences are for that for women that still? A lot of women still say that, okay, it's more important for me to be with family than it is to go work for some boss or work for wherever.
Well, I think more men than ever are stay at home these days, but it's still a very small fraction compared to the number of women. And if it's a choice, usually you're right, it is the woman. And I think that's just the human element there. This is what we've always done, right? The female has always been the primary caregiver for the kids. I mean, even if you look at New York law, for crying out loud, that's how they see it. And, you know, when I went through the divorce, I wanted half custody, and I had to fight for it. They want to give it all, you know, and have me see my daughter, you know, a couple days a month. You know, kind of bullshit, but no. So I think that's just, in general, our society is still geared towards that misogynistic kind of view. But say misogynistic, but also, women do tend to be better nurturers. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that if I've failed somewhere with my daughter, it's in nurturing in the same way that her mother would have. I'm not that person. I'm kind and caring and whatnot, but I'm more practical. The feelings part of things, I think, muddies the waters and gets in the way of what needs to be done. And that's just how my mindset is. Not all men are like that, but I think more men are like that, or at least perceived that way, institutionally. And so it's the same reason why if women make less than men in the same position, same training, same experience, probably do a better damn job. It's just society's preconceived notions of things.
I think a lot of that has to do with that. Again, women tend to be more agreeable. So when men try to negotiate for the higher pay, and women just kind of, a boss will throw out a number, women will say, okay.
That has been purported to be part of it, is that women do settle for less.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch that goes. It's
get
insane.
Your foot in the door, this, that. There's a lot of reasons it happens. But yes, that is supposedly one of them.
So we got a bunch of comments here. All right, so we got OMI saying good morning. This is the driving verse. Does he know about OMI? Yes, he does. Oh, you interviewing a veterinarian? Sven Dongen is also a veterinarian. Says, do you want, as a vet, Lady and the Tramp in your vault? So Lady and the Tramp, the Disney movie. It's a it's a golden moment.
Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah, you have like a couple comic books, I think, right?
I mostly comics. I buy whatever's there, whatever's dropping, I get, or whatever, because I never really got into comics, but I can see value in things that others find value in. It doesn't matter that it doesn't matter to me per se. I like to invest in all kinds of stuff.
So we were going over this morning that the Wall Street Journal had just posted an article saying that kids no longer want cash for Christmas. They want Robux, which is the digital currency of Roblox. If you were to try to explain someone to that, either in your hometown or 30 years ago, how do you try to explain that to somebody that
How would I explain it to them? Okay, so I would say that Roblox is an online world where kids can go and create things. They can create characters, buildings, whatever. I know my daughter was into it, so I kind of saw her doing it here and there. But it's a creative space, I guess would be the best way for me to explain it. It's a creative space, and you can pay to create things. And pay to get to certain levels and accomplish certain things within this creative space. So that would be, I guess, why they would want that, because you can't spend US dollars and you'd have to convert dollars to Robux, Robux. So just cut the middleman out.
So you have seen, obviously, they had color TV when you were a kid, right?
It came about.
Okay, all right. So you've seen color TV, you've seen like plasma TVs.
Well, I started with black and white, the giant ass TVs that you needed 5 people to carry and all that shit. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, I've seen it all. Seen it develop. I mean, when was television first invented? What year? And then when did color TV start? Color TV had to be in the 70s.
Yeah, colors, I think it was in the 70s. TV.
I'm pretty
sure.
Well,
I guess the TV was probably in the 50s.
I started with black and white. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a long time ago. Details are sketchy.
You've had Apple spend $3.5 billion making the iPhone. You have Tesla spend $25 billion making Tesla cars. Between the internet, space travel, blockchain, what do you think is the most significant invention or technology of your lifetime? Internet?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question. I feel like
that you got wealthy later in life as opposed to younger, because a lot of times younger people tend to kind of piss it away and be a little done with it.
It's a tough question to answer. I will say that who knows if I would have become what I have become had I been handed things, you know, and you can't help but be handed things, I feel, if your parents have money.
Yeah.
I tried to, you know, not do that with my daughter, and I feel like it still happened, you know. Always made sure she had responsibilities and she earned an allowance, and I wasn't just giving her everything, and I would say no just to say no, so she learned what saying no felt like before she was 25 years old, and she had to go in therapy for 4 years because somebody said no to her. But you know, I tried, you know, and it's still so. I don't. That's a tough question, you know. Who knows? You know, I'm sure there are plenty of young rich people that grow up to be good people with work ethic and philanthropic values and things like that. But I guess for them, they would never really know what it was like to struggle.
Yeah.
And that I do know. I did not come from money. I was just barely on the right side of the tracks, so to speak. So, you know, my father had a 5th grade education, did not graduate high school, so I got a lot of street smarts from him. And I think maybe I would lack the street smarts had not had to go through the things I went through, you know.
G-Money said I had to euthanize my dog last week. Hardest thing ever.
Sorry, G-Money, that is brutal, man.
Yeah, that's like one of the worst.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. That's heartbreaking. Even when you know it's the right thing, and it does not make it any easier, my friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hard to know when it's the right thing too. As an owner, it's hard to know when it's the right thing.
Hard to know when it's the right thing as a vet as well. I understand. It's you know, yeah. It's never an easy decision. Never.
Yeah.
Almost never.
Sven saying, for me, the phone consultations are not interesting. I'd rather have them come for an emergency consultation. Earns me much more money.
Yeah. How long have you been practicing there, my friend?
Yeah, Sven, comment down below how long you've been practicing. Prices here in Belgium are way lower than in America. For male neuters, €75. For female, for spays, it's a €135. Consultation is only €35.
Wow, you are getting undervalued, my friend.
Yeah. I don't know what their laws are making it so cheap.
Well, they have a lot of corporate medicine over there.
Okay.
And things are starting to get regulated and consolidated, and as the veterinary medicine is going to be changing, and I don't know if I like it.
It says the hardest thing as a vet here is the fact that you have to build a business, and people always think that it's only charity.
Yeah, well, the same thing in the U.S., man. You should be doing this shit for free, don't you know? You're supposed to love animals, do it for free.
I don't know
and
how.
Be ashamed. Picture Game of Thrones, the Walk of Shame. Be ashamed for making money as a veterinarian. If you're not ashamed, you're a horrible person. That's the perception.
Heck all that noise. The more money I make, the more I can help.
Thank you. That's what I try to tell people. Don't be ashamed to make money. If I don't make money, I can't pay my team. If I can't pay my team, they're going to go find someone else who will pay them, or a profession that will pay them. If I can't update my hospital, my equipment, you know, then what kind of facilities am I going to have in 10 to 15 years? I won't be able to keep up with the times and the changes and the advances. No. It's we need to rethink this.
Yeah, not going to be a gold standard of medicine.
No, you're going to be. I was about to say a name. You're going to be practicing, you know, some questionable medicines.
Sven also says maybe get Randy as your financial advisor. Totally should.
He's my adjunct.
Love as a veterinarian, we have no time. Wife is spending money when we go to work. He's small animal practice, Sven. Connection lost, back online. Oh, he's been practicing for 10 years.
10 years. Talk to me in another 10. And 10, I was burning it up too. I just bought my practice, and I was on fire, man. On fire. And I cooked myself. Even though I knew that phenomenon would happen between growing 2 hospitals, running 2 hospitals, dealing with all the clients, and I mean busy hospitals. I was the medical director, and I was still the top producer by $300,000. So Yeah, talk to me then, man, and you'll be ready for some phone consults, I promise.
Yeah.
But you're right. You know, you can make a lot more of a difference in the clinic, hands-on, and you can make a lot. It's more lucrative as well. Absolutely, absolutely. I've been there, done that, and I'm just moving. I'm just moving to my next phase. But I thoroughly enjoyed that part of my life. Don't get me wrong. Clinical practice was very fun. You know, I really enjoyed it. What burned me out was owning and trying to keep a cohesive team and deal with all the nonsensical complaints from both clients and team members. There's over and over and over time and things. You know, I should have separated myself more from that. But you know, here's what it is. I am where I am. No regrets. Not many people are in my shoes, and if I wanted to tone my lifestyle down, I could never work. You know, I'd never have to work again.
Yeah. So the all right, what we got here? Attendance practice, more money, more problems.
Yep, I'll take those problems, baby. Yeah. Every day of the week, I'll take those problems.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I'd much rather have the issues of a rich man than the issues of poor man we can't afford.
Man. Oh, you gotta pay so many taxes, man.
Oh, taxes suck though.
They suck
so
you know,
hard.
But they suck. But the more taxes you pay, the better off you are.
I don't think that's a.
Well, unless you're dealing drugs or doing some, you know, some shit where Uncle Sam ain't gonna come get you.
I thought you meant that the more taxes you pay, like the better society is.
No.
I thought, all right,
the more money, the more more taxes you pay, and the more money you make.
Yeah, it's true. It's so much though. I feel like you're getting penalized for being successful.
How much I'm about to pay?
I know.
Man. I know what paying taxes is all about. But you know, hey, that's the system we live in. You know, bitching and complaining about it ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah,
vote if you want to change it. You know, but that's all you can do.
Yeah.
That's the system we live in. It's got its issues, it's got its problems, just like anything else. But I do believe it is the best system.
So, walk me. You mentioned voting. Walk me through where your mindset has gone in the last 30 years. Did you start off Republican? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I was from South Louisiana. Even though you know, my parents were Democrats. You know, one of the 10% that live in the area where I am. You know, so they definitely instilled democratic values within me. But I had, you know, early on, in my Air Force, career, the Republican presidents were always the ones that are going to give raises to the military and this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, I voted Republican early on for sure.
And then when did that change, and what caused it to change?
When I learned really what it meant to vote Democrat, vote Republican, and when I realized the social aspect of things and how Republican policies in general do not contribute to societal welfare. It really doesn't.
Define societal welfare.
Taking care of others, making sure those that are less fortunate are taken care of, or they have programs and systems and this, like Social Security. Before everybody goes, oh, you just want to give everything away. That's not what I'm saying. Social Security is welfare. Mm-hmm. I'll say it again. Social Security is welfare.
Yep.
Falls under the welfare umbrella, and it was touted as socialism. That was something that this country needed. You had, the burden that the elderly was putting on society was tremendous. Still
kind of is.
Yeah, well, right. Well, yeah, it can be for sure. You got an elderly person that needs to be in a nursing home, boy, you better have some money. I'll tell you that right now. But the social policies of the Democrats are more appealing. I am in that percent where the democratic policies are going to affect me, and I don't care.
It affect you in a negative way.
Yes.
Because you'll have to pay a lot more taxes.
I'll pay more. Yes. Yeah. That's okay. I'm still voting Democrat because I believe it's important to give back to society.
So, for me, and I'm very egotistical here. I think I can do a 10,000% better job than the government at handling money and doing better for the world.
Yeah, sure.
And I view you as, I mean, a doctor and a lot more life experience. So clearly quite a bit smarter than me. I would much rather you have the money than the government.
Well, that's kind of kind of a singular view there, because I think having money and doing things with the money is one aspect of running a government, but there are many aspects of running a government that I don't think any of us here listening to this have the first clue about.
True.
And then there's also things when you're running a government, just like you're running a business, your team is not going to know every little detail. And because they don't know every little detail, they're not going to understand every decision the way that people who do know every detail would understand it. So, it's easy to criticize, but I think that if we knew everything, our heads would explode and we'd panic because a lot of us live our lives in a fear-based mode. But if we knew everything, I think most of us would have a better understanding of why decisions are made the way that they are. So I don't know how I would feel about that. About me having the money versus the government, but I don't want to have a big tax return, so I agree with that, right? I don't want to loan my money to the government interest free all year long.
Yeah.
So I agree, and I do agree that governments are inefficient. They're run by human beings who are selfish, who are fallible, who are corruptible, and it's Ragnar Northbrook. Power attracts the worst and corrupts the best. That's true. So you're dealing with human beings. We tend to say government, and then it becomes this abstract thing. It's people. You're dealing with people.
Did you watch the? I think it was last year, a few years ago, Congress interrogate Mark Zuckerberg on what he's doing with Facebook and
clips here and there.
So, for me, I watched that and I saw that.
I'll say that Congress. What I did see, it seemed like Congress had no clue.
That's a point.
No, and like you're sitting here interrogating this guy, you don't understand half of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
got that much out of it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up.
5 minutes, maybe. Yeah, they're like, oh, Facebook, what is this? Yeah, they didn't understand what the hell they were trying to even.
So what I want to bring up is that it seems like in China, the politicians there are pretty technologically literate, and it seems that in America, the congressmen here are pretty technologically illiterate.
Yeah.
But also in that same breath, I'll wrap this around saying that. Usually, a lot of people that have money, that have experience with having money, well, they have experience. They kind of know how to spend it. They know how to keep it.
Yep.
And if you give someone, see with the lotto, every year, you give someone $1 million.
Oh, they burn that.
They burn that right away.
Yep.
So, what do you think is more important to teach everybody? The young generation will learn technology themselves.
Yes.
But let's say the 30-year-olds, late 20s, early 30s. The next leaders of the country.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be more financial literacy that's more important, or more technological literacy?
Well, I think technological literacy is gonna come naturally. I agree with that. And I sure as hell wished someone would have taught me financial literacy when I was in my 20s. Oh God, man, yeah. That is, I feel super important and super lacking. Very much lacking. Yeah.
We got a couple more. Oh God, I'm getting spammed by new private dating chat. Okay, report unwanted spam. Okay, there we go. Interesting, very true, very sticky when you're talking politics. Yeah, I mean, with friends, we're not in any positions or anything.
No. And I can talk politics with a hardcore Republican. Because as long as you don't label, don't make generalizations, and seek to understand. Nobody does that. They seek to convince. Seek to understand, ask questions. it's possible. It's possible.
Randy, what if we could stake our OMI as vets on one place where you are the main owner? Can the staked money be collected and funded back to the vets that help animals for that money? So when you're going to stake OMI, you know what staking is?
Where you put it aside for something?
No, so staking in general is, let's say you're staking Ethereum, and you stake, $100,000 worth of Ethereum. You'll get rewards on that for the validating and the staking of it, and you'll get like 6% a year, whatever.
Which means you can't use it ever?
Well, you can't use it while it's locked up for, let's say, a year.
I got you. Oh, you lock it for a year.
Yeah, you lock it for X amount of time.
I got you. So it's like a CD kind of.
Yeah, but for OMI, again, if you stake it and depending on how it is with the Howey test, if you stake it and lock it up and you get more OMI, or if you get more money for it, it can be in some ways be considered as a security. For OMI, because we don't want to go and reprint or mint any new tokens, well, what's the incentives for locking up OMI? So you won't get any financial, or at least any more tokens that you can sell. It's not going to flood the circulating supply. What you'll get is rewards for that'll be applicable in the VV app and the VV verse. So you'll get golden tickets, you'll get certain NFTs. So Sven, if you really wanted to, you could stake a bunch of OMI and then take the rewards, like the NFTs they give you, or the golden tickets, and then you could sell those, and that's the way around it. So that's part of the brilliance of OMI. They give you rewards that are not OMI. Keeps it from being security, keeps it from the circulating supply being flooded with more. And that do be it. Any last things you wanted to tell the peeps before we?
No. Thanks for listening to me run my mouth. I guess it's always good to chat with my brother Randy. That's for sure.
It was good. The last one we did was September of 2020.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's been you had this hefty beard.
Yeah, man, I had the beard then. Yeah, that shit got out of control.
Sven says see you in 10 years.
All right, so, hey, yeah, man, talk to me in 10. Let's see where we're at. Hopefully you don't burn out like me, man. Pace yourself.
And so it's I don't. You were the third one I had on the podcast. I don't know who the first two were.
Veterinarians?
Well, you were just the third person I had on the podcast ever.
Oh, really? I was the third?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know who the first two were. I can't. My video doesn't. My history. It won't go back. I don't know why.
Oh shit, that sucks.
Yeah, like I like on the playlist, or it's just not on the playlist. Maybe I just didn't add it to the Chavez podcast playlist. But yeah, so now you're on the. You're on the same podcast. Which this podcast, my YouTube channel started in his basement.
Yeah.
Started in 2020, just talking. During the pandemic, and it was. Yeah. So did you ever think that with me starting a YouTube channel on this phone, in your basement, that I'd ever have, Indian royalty or Biden's campaign manager or?
Yeah, no, not a million years. I mean, never. Definitely no negative thoughts like, oh, he's wasting his time. I hope that you would succeed. And I'm happy to see this moving like it is, man. For sure. Well deserved.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you so much. All right, I'll catch you all later. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.